Okay, let's go through our third group of Passeriformes. We're getting close to the end here. So Passeriformes 3, we're going to have 3 or 4 families here. The biggest family in the tag is Sternity, and so these are the starlings. I think we have maybe 7 species of starling to take a look at. The first is the grosbeak starling, which really, given its prominent beak, doesn't remind one of many other starlings that they might think of that have daintier beaks. The grosbeak starling is, I would say, more frequently called the finch-billed myna. Scissirostrum dubium is a species of least concern that eats fruit, seeds, and insects. Also eats the nectar of erythrina flowers. It is found in Sulawesi and nearby islands, um, and is a uh, forest edge species. But it's found a lot in areas where humans have modified the land, places like plantations. Our next species is the metallic starling. This is Aplonus metallica, a very striking iridescent species. Uh, and this is a species of least concern as well. And in this particular lecture, I believe there are only 2 species with a conservation status that isn't the least concern. Their primary diet is fruit. They also consume nectar and some insects as well. The metallic starling has 5 subspecies found in uh, New Guinea and northern Australia. They also in North Maluku, the Banda Arc, and the Aru Islands to the west of New Guinea, and then to the east, the Bismarck Archipelago and the Solomon Islands as well. This species is found in a variety of habitats, including rainforests, coastal woodlands, mangroves, forest edges, all of those. And occasionally they can be even encountered in savanna um, when certain trees are fruiting that they will visit for food. And typically they are found below 1,000 meters in elevation. Movements, as far as movements are concerned, they are sedentary or nomadic. The golden crested myna, um, Ampeliceps coronatus, is a species of least concern that primarily eats fruits and most likely supplements its diet with insects as well, though I don't think its diet is very well documented. It is a species from India, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, and Vietnam. In terms of habitat, the species likes forests and also cleared areas with relic tall trees, and is found from lowlands to 800 meters. And it is sedentary, as many of the species today are. The Ballymina, Leucopsar rothschildi, is a critically endangered species, and this is a very interesting one to talk about. So, its natural range in general is very small, and that natural range has continued to shrink uh, since we have really known anything about them in the early 1900s. There's 2 significant reasons for their range shrinkage. Obviously, habitat conversion, particularly to agriculture, also just in general for human settlement, is a problem. But locally, in their in their range in Bali, and then the surrounding sort of region of Indonesia, they're captured for the local cage bird trade, and this is a significant pressure on this species. Um, at this, at the time of the entry in Birds of the World, there's estimated to be less than 50 mature individuals in the wild there are also captive individuals. And in fact, captive individuals have been released at, uh, as far as I know, several different points historically, at least in the last 20-ish years, to help bolster wild populations. In terms of diet, they have a varied diet, seeds, fruits, nectar, as well as insects, worms, and small lizards. So you can see, here's Bali, and they're just in a tiny little range, basically a speck of northwest Bali, where there are open woodlands with a grassy understory. This species does not like a closed forest system. They like open wooded systems. And they are sedentary. The violet-backed starling, Cineranculus leucogaster, is a species of least concern that eats fruit, and it also supplements its diet with insects as well. Species is essentially, there's three subspecies, essentially sub-Saharan in distribution, also found, you can see there on the Arabian Peninsula a little bit. Is a species of open and riverine woodlands. In Kenya, it can be found up to 3,000 meters. That's sort of the high end of its elevational preference. In other parts of its range, it's found in lowland forest and agricultural areas. This is a very much so a partially migrant species. In different parts of the range, movements are quite different. And in some parts of the range, you have what are essentially resident species. Interestingly, there was at least one record of a vagrant in Israel. Now, just to give you context for where that is on this map, it would be up here at the top of the Arabian Peninsula. So that's a pretty good distance from its normal distribution. The golden-breasted starling, Lampritornis regius, is a species of least concern that eats insects and small fruits as well. The golden-breasted starling is found in Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, and Tanzania. Interestingly, the next species, I believe, on this list has a distribution that looks very close to identical to this distribution. This is a species of dry bush and savanna from sea level to 1,200 meters. It is sedentary, though does show some local movement. Yeah, so the superb starling has a really, really similar distribution. Lampritornis superbus is a species of least concern that eats insects and supplements its diet with fruits. There you can see the very, very similar distribution. So if you look at that distribution and then we go back 2 slides and look at this one, you're like, man, almost the same. It's pretty interesting. Very, very similar. They're species of open woodland cultivated areas and do well in and around human habitation as well, and are sedentary. The emerald starling is Lampritornis iris. This is another species of least concern, and as many of these do, it eats fruits and insects. It's a very, very striking bird. It is found in Western Africa, in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Cote d'Ivoire. It is a savanna woodland species. It is sedentary. Does show local movements, and supposedly there's some evidence for seasonal movements, but it's poorly studied. So that's Sternity. That's our starlings. The next family is Turdidae. These are the thrushes. So the chestnut-backed thrush is Geochicla dohertai, is a species that is near threatened. So um, this is our second species on this list that is, it's somehow not doing too well. Its range is heavily restricted, much like the Ballymina that we looked at earlier. It has a relatively small range, not nearly as small as the Ballyminas, though. It is impacted by pet trade in its range, which is, you know, actually in a pretty similar region to the Ballymina. It is also very, very susceptible to habitat destruction because it likes um, basically it has a preference for some like lowland areas of habitat. It can live across a wide range of elevations, but it likes these lowland habitats, and of course, people like lowland habitats as well. It's easy to build on them. So that particular area of its habitat is under great threat. Most of that's going to be deforested or has been deforested for human purposes. Its diet is primarily insects. So the chestnut-backed thrush is found throughout the greater and lesser Sunda Islands. It's also found in East Timor, which is over here. Excuse me. Just to give you an idea, this would be where the Bali Mina is, this little dot right here, and the tip of Bali. So you can see, even though the range is quite restricted, it's not comparable to the wildly restricted range of the Bali Mina. So the chestnutback thrush is generally a closed canopy evergreen or semi-evergreen uh, forest species uh, that likes lower montane and montane forests. Again, it also likes lowlands, but a lot of the lowland habitat that it might inhabit is gone, and it is sedentary. All right, so that's Turdidee. Now we move on to Muscicapitae. These are old world flycatchers, and we have two species, I think, in the tag. The first is the white-rumped shama thrush, as the tag calls it, or what you might more typically hear, which is just the white-rumped shama. And this is Copsychus malabaricus. This is a species of least concern that eats insects and earthworms and supplements its diet with fruit as well. There are 9 subspecies. It is found throughout India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, Vietnam, all there through um, the like Borneo and Java and Sumatra, those places. So that's its distribution. It's a forest understory species and can be found in a number of different types of forest with appropriate understory, including rubber and oil palm plantations, which is kind of interesting. One of the reasons this species is doing so well. It can coexist with some of the um, cultivation that humans create, and it is a sedentary species. The robin chat, which is more appropriately called the snowy crowned robin chat, um, is Crossopha nivicapilla, and is a species of least concern that consumes invertebrates and fruits. The robin chat can refer to a lot of different things, just to be clear. If you just generically say robin chat, it can mean members of the genus Cossipha, like it does here. It can mean Cossificula, which is another genus, or it can mean Decerornis. So there's like 3 different genera that have the generic name robin chat assigned to a number of the birds in that genus. So that's why we don't really say robin chat. We say snowy crowned robin chat. That's this specific Cossifica nivicapilla. So, anyways, just understand that just saying robin chat in general, not a very good way to describe what bird you're talking about. On the test, robin chat, because it's the tag name, is, if this shows up, that would be the answer. There are two subspecies of robin chat. They are found. So if you imagine, so this is Senegal and Liberia. So you imagine like taking a line here, drawing it across Africa um, to Ethiopia. So that's the general range where as you move eastward, the distribution becomes quite sparse. And then you also have distribution that reaches down into Angola and the Republic of the Congo as well. Okay, now we have Plosidae. These are the weavers. I think there are 3 weavers in the tag. The first is the white-headed buffalo weaver, a really cool bird with a really cool scientific name, Dinamelia dinameli. This is a species of least concern that eats insects and also some fruits and seeds. There are 2 subspecies found in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, South Sudan, and Somalia. And this is a dry brush and savanna thornveld species. So savanna thornveld is a specific form of savanna that's sort of dominated by thorny acacia. I don't know that if that's come up before in a description, but I just wanted to so that you know what it is. It is a sedentary species with possible local movements. The tavetia weaver, or tavetia golden weaver, Plosius castaneoseps, is a species of least concern that eats seeds and also some insects. It is found in Kenya and Tanzania, so quite the relatively small range, and is a species of swampy lowlands primarily. It is sedentary ? So there's an interesting note in the Birds of the World. It says the breeding areas are noted to be deserted for extended periods of time, which would insinuate that it's not actually sedentary, that it's probably migratory, or at least to some extent, because it's moving out of breeding areas and then showing back up again. But there's not enough information to really say for sure what the nature of these movements are. And the saffron finch, Cichlids flaviola, is a species of least concern that eats seeds and small arthropods. The saffron finch has 4 subspecies in Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia, and Argentina. This is a species that exists in highly varied habitats. It does well in a number of habitats. It primarily likes habitats that have some amount of scattered trees and shrubs, though, and is sedentary. Okay, so that is this group, Passeriformes III. Only one more to go, and we will have covered all of the species listed on the tag page, which is pretty cool. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out to me.